Hi, welcome to Vision IGCSE GCSE classes. So it's a classes for GCSE IGCSE student around the globe. So we have to discuss here AQA GCSE Mathematics syllabus for GCSE students. Syllabus that has not been changed since 2015, but we have to discuss it for students, those who are giving the GCSE in their near future. For GCSE subject content, you have a 6 topics are there: number, algebra, ratio, proportion, rate of change, then geometry and major, probability and statistic. These are the 6 topics are there, and based on that you have two kinds of papers. One is foundation mathematics and other one is higher mathematics. So here first of all we will understand what kind of assessment is there for GCSE student. So for GCSE Mathematics, the foundation here for grade 1 to 5 and higher tier it's a 4 to 9. So student must take 3 papers here and all the question must be taken from the same series. So here you have a paper 1 which is non-calculator based, paper 2 which is calculator, and paper 3 it's a calculator based. So paper 1 non-calculator, it's a easy one. It's a just a 1 hour 30-minute question paper will be there, and it's 18 marks. Alright, and 33% of the marks are considered for your final mark sheet. Alright, then calculator based paper 2 we have a 1 hour 30-minute written exam will be there, and it's 80 marks again. And paper 3 also we have 1 hour 30-minute written exam will be there, and it's of 80 marks. Fine, 3 of them are weighted 33% around. And so what's the difference between the paper 2 and paper 3? So if you compare these two, you will be having little difficult, more analytical oriented questions will be there in the paper 3 compared to paper 2. So you can say it's a little bit of more of a analytical multi-step based questions will be there compared to paper 2. Fine, so we will here discuss the subject content, what will be there in the subject. So you have a numbers. Firstly, in the number you have a nearly 16 topics are there. Algebra it's one of the interesting topic, and 22 or topics are there. Then ratios and proportion, rate, it's a 16 topics are there. Geometry and majors, it's a 25 topics are there. Probability you have a 9 topics are there. Statistic you have a 6 topics are there. So here, as I said, the foundation and higher mathematics will be there. So what's a difference between these foundation and higher tier? What's a weightage for these 6 topics? You can see here probability, statistic, they have combined it. The number, the weightage will be more for the foundation, okay, and higher tier it's a 15 marks. Just algebra, foundation it's a lower weightage will be there, but higher tier you have a 30 marks will be 30% weightage will be given. Ratios, again the foundation for it's a more weightage, it's a 25% and 20% in the higher tier. Geometry 15 and 20% in the higher tier. And probability, statistic, it's 15, it's the same. All right, so basic topics will be there, we will discuss it later on. Fine, so we'll start with the number. What are the topics are there under the number? So structure and calculation, here you have to learn and understand means greater than, equal to, not equal to, less than, equal to, these signs, and how we can utilize and how we can draw on the number line. Okay, -1, +1, grade x is greater than equal to -1, +1, how we can represent on the number line and things like that we have to discuss it. So it's a foundation content. Then basic operations such as addition, multiplication, integer number, whole number, then proper, improper fraction, mixed fractions, okay, all will be there. Fine, then nextly third one, it's a relation between the operation, inverse operations, okay. Then nextly we have a prime numbers, factors, multiple, common factors, means LCM, HCF concept will be there, prime factorization. All right, so there are many tips and tricks are there also to understand these very simple common topics. And if you understand these topics, it will be really helpful for the topics like algebra and other topics. Okay, you can easily attempt these questions. Fine, so we even guide throughout the year for the GCSE IGCSE students, suppose if you want to connect with us, I have left the contact in the description box. You can straight away connect with us. Fine. Then nextly we have a fifth topic, that is systematic listing strategies. Then here you have higher content product rule for counting. Then nextly the positive integer powers associated real roots. Okay, then for higher students, the powers and roots for any given positive numbers. Then nextly we have, along with this topic, we have calculation of roots, okay, integer indices, then fractional indices also added for the higher students. Fine. Then foundation, we have calculating exact leaf with fractions. Fine. Then multiple of pi. Okay, then for higher grade students, actually they have a third expressions. Fine. We have to write in the standard form. A times 10 to the power of n means 5.2 times 10 to the power of 6 and things like that we have to write. All right, and this a lie between 1 to 10. Okay, then fraction, decimal, percentages. So interchanging with the terminating decimal, non-terminating decimal. Then for higher grade student, recurring decimals are also part is there. For basic student, work with fraction and their ratios. All right, then interpret the fraction, percentage, okay, part is there. Then measure and accuracy. So we have a mass, length, time, and money. Other conversions are also there. Then nextly approximation and estimation part, which is important for it's a foundation for the A star level. Okay, this approximation and estimation. Then nextly appropriate degree of accuracy, then rounding of numbers, measure appropriate degree of accuracy. So this is actually foundation topic. Then yeah, that's it. All right, so interpret the limit of accuracy and upper and lower bounds. So also part of means higher grade, higher students. Fine. Then second topic, that is algebra. We have to understand means the notation, algebraic notation. Nextly multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, like fraction, unlike fractions. Okay, unlike terms we have to understand. Then coefficient, variable. Okay, then nextly first part, that's a substitution. Then we have a expression, equation, formulas, inequality, terms and factors are there in the algebra. Okay, once we start we will discuss it. Fine. So even in your school they will discuss these topics. Then collecting like terms, multiplying, then common factors, simplifying the expression, sums, product, power. Okay, laws of power, laws of indices you have to discuss. Fine. Then for a higher student, actually simplifying and manipulating the algebraic expression. Okay, even there you must learn the multiplication and factorization of terms. Then expanding the product of two binomial, expanding binomials or two or more binomials basically. Okay, then quadratic expression, even cubic expressions are also there. Then rearrangement of formulas. This is one of the interesting means topic. You will definitely get the questions. Fine. Then difference between the equations and identity. Then we have algebraic expression and equivalent. Okay, so the includes proofs also there. Fine. Then nextly inverse functions. Okay, so we have a graphs as well. Graphs means coordinates, okay, of all four quadrant. So xy graphs, basically it's a x, y. So we have to understand this first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. Okay, they are sign conventions as well. Then nextly the equations of straight line graph, y is equal to mx plus c. Then for higher student, actually they have to identify the perpendicular parallel lines. They are equations. Okay, so identify, interpret of the gradient. Okay, then nextly for quadratic and cubic equation, we have to identify roots, then intercept, turning points. Okay, for quadratic function, deduce the roots algebraically. Okay, turning point by completing the square method. It's these videos on each and every topic I have listed in the channel. You can check there as well. Then sketch and interpret the graphs of linear, quadratic function. It's very important. Even additional resources such as reciprocal functions, so exponential function for higher grade student, sine y is equal to sine x, y is equal to cos x, y is equal to tan x. Even trigonometric function graphs are quite important to get higher grades. Okay, 9 out of 9. Fine. So sketch the translation, reflection. Fine. Then nextly, here we have a kinematic problems involving distance, speed, acceleration. Then reciprocal graphs are there, exponential graphs are also there. For higher grade student, actually they have to understand the gradient of graph, area under the graph. Fine. Distance time graphs, velocity time graphs. Okay, these topics are quite important. Then nextly, equation of a circle with center at origin, equation of a tangent to the circle at a given point. Then nextly, linear equation in one unknown, then approximate solution. Okay, then the quadratic equation algebraically, solving the quadratic equation by factorization. Okay, approximate solutions are also there. All right, then we have to understand the rearrangement of formula, then rearrangement of formula by completing square method or even quadratic formula. All right, then we have a simultaneous equations. So simultaneous for a highest grade student, they have a linear and quadratic simultaneous equations. Then we have to derive the equations. Algebra, there are many topics are there, fine, which you have to understand topic by topic. But here just to understand these topics you have to learn for the GCSE. Fine. Then nextly, we have linear inequality part is there. Okay, linear inequality means graphs are there, means you have to shade these graphs. Then sequence, we have a term to term sequence or position to term rules are there. Okay, then nextly, we have a sequence of triangular, square, cube numbers, simple arithmetic progression. Then the Fibonacci type of questions are also there, quadratic sequence, simple geometric sequence are there, r raised to n. All right, so then nextly, we have to deduce the expression to calculate the nth term of the linear equation. Even for higher grade students, the quadratic sequence part is also there. Then we have the third topic, that is ratio, proportion, rate of change. For ratio, proportion and rate of change, you have a standard units, time, length, volume, area, mass, capacity. Compound units are also there. Okay, then scale factor, scale diagrams, maps. Then the fraction with numerator greater than 1 we have. Then ratios, notation, reduction to the simplest form. Okay, so nextly, divide a given quantity into two parts, means we have to divide into certain ratio. Then expression of multiplicative relationship between the two quantities. Understand in use of proportion as equality of ratios, ratios to the fraction and linear fraction. Fine. Then nextly, percentage as a number of part per 100. Interpret the percentage change as a fraction or decimal expression. One quantity as a percentage of another. Compare two quantities using percentage. So all these topics are there under the ratio percentage. Fine. Work with percentage greater than even 100. Fine. Then nextly, direct and inverse proportion. All right, so we have a linear, quadratic, then cubic functions are also there. So we have a direct, inverse proportions are also there. Fine. Nextly, compound units such as speed, rate of pay and unit of pricing. Even compound units such as density, pressure also there for the foundation. All right, then nextly, we have a comparison of length, area, volume using ratio notation. Understand the x is inversely proportional to y, equivalent to the x. It's a y, x is equal to 1 upon y, or y is equal to 1 upon x. Then for higher grade student, you have to construct and interpret the equation, describe direct and inverse proportion. Means we have to construct the equations here, then gradient of a straight line graph. Okay, nextly apply the concepts of average and instantaneous rate of change. Okay, these are concepts there for higher students. Then work with general iterative processes. Then we have a fourth topic, that is geometry and measures. So under the geometry and measure, we have a very small conceptual parts are there, such as point, line, vertices, edges, then planes, parallel lines, perpendicular line, right angle, polygon, regular polygons, and polygon with reflection, rotation, symmetry. Okay, then nextly the sides and angles of the triangle, draw the diagram from the written descriptions. So those are part for the foundation. All right, so along with that, we have to use the compass to construct the perpendicular line, parallel lines. Okay, so then construct the given figure, solve the loci problems. Then the perpendicular distance from the point to the line is the shortest distance to the line. Okay, then apply all these properties of angle at a point on the straight line, vertically opposite angles. Then we have to understand the alternate corresponding angles for the parallel lines. Fine, so sum of angles in the triangle and other polygons as well. We have to understand the interior angles of a polygon, exterior angles of a polygon. Okay, yeah, then nextly we have to understand here the types of quadrilateral. Okay, then their properties as well. Okay, then basic, we have a congruency criterias are there, SSS, SAS, then ASA and RHS. These four criterias are there, we will discuss them. The triangle congruency, similarity, properties of quadrilateral, those are quite important. Okay, then along with that, we have a Pythagoras theorem. The angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. How the two angles actually are equal. So how they are, we will discuss it once we start. Fine. Then nextly describe and construct similar shapes including coordinate axis. Fine, considering rotation, reflection, translation and enlargement. It's a transformation topic. Okay, so we have to, even for higher grade, we have to understand the fractional scale, negative scale factor also we have to understand. Fine, then describe the changes and invariance achieved by the combination of rotation, reflection and translation. Means the combined transformation part is there. Okay, so next part, for circle, we have to understand center, radius, chord, diameter, circumference. These are topics are there. Along with that, we have to understand tangent, arc, sector, segment, their area, the length of the sector. Fine, then the concerning angle, radii, tangent, chord, related theorems are there. Okay, so we will discuss them once we start the topics. Fine, the properties of faces, surface, edges, vertices, the cube, cuboid, prism, cylinder, pyramid, cone and sphere. Okay, we have to interpret them, understand their properties. Okay, apply these properties to solve the examples. Fine, then plane and elevations of 3D shapes, the construct and interpret the. Then nextly scale drawing and use of bearing concept is also there. Bearing, it's one of the interesting topic. Okay, then nextly apply the formula to calculate the area of triangle per the parallelogram, then volume of cuboid and other right angle prisms. Okay, then circumference of the circle, area of the circle, the perimeter of 2D shapes including circle. Fine, then the calculating length of arc, angle, area of sector. So the concepts of congruency, similarity, including relationship between the lengths, the relationship between lengths, area, volume, we have to discuss here. Then we have a Pythagoras theorem. We have to apply this Pythagoras theorem to calculate the unknown side. Fine, then for a trigonometry, we have to understand these sine, cos, tan angles and apply them to solve the any basic questions. So for higher student, they have even understand the cosine rule, sine rule, fine, two-dimensional figure, three-dimensional figure, fine. Then here you can see the sine rule, cosine rule, fine. So even we have a area of a triangle in terms of sine rule, which is half times a times b, and angle between them is sine c. Okay, so vector 2D vector part is also there for a foundation students, fine. So then we have a addition, subtraction of vector, multiplication of vector. Then for higher students, vector to construct the geometric arguments and proofs. Okay, so these are the topics there for the under geometry. All right, so then nextly we have a probability. So probability, again we have to discuss the probability concept, fine, outcome. So then nextly various events, equally likely outcomes, then theoretical probability. Okay, so then the probabilities of exclusive events, mutually exclusive events. Then even we have to understand the probability distributions of samples. Okay, then nextly we have a table, grid, Venn diagrams, tree diagrams are also there. Okay, then nextly we have probabilities or experimental probability part is also there, fine. Yeah, so these are the topics there for under the probability. Then we have statistic. For statistic we have to understand the frequency table, bar chart, pie chart, pictograms, fine. Then the categorical data, vertical lines, fine. Then nextly we have a discrete data, continuous data, histograms. Okay, so then nextly we have a distribution of data sets. So discrete, continuous and grouped data, central tendency, so such as median, mode, mean, model, class, spread means range. Okay, outliers. So for higher grade students they have a quartiles, interquartile range. Even we have a box and whiskey plot, fine. Then statistically we have to describe the statistic to describe the populations. Then we have a graphs for bivariate data, so draw and estimate the best line fit a graph, fine. Then nextly, yeah, these are the topics there under the statistic part. All right, so I hope means you got the brief idea about what are the topics are there for the foundation as well as higher students, fine. So for AQA level 1 and 2 GCSE in mathematics, you have, as I said earlier, your foundation and higher mathematics you can choose based on your mathematical understanding. So I would suggest choose higher one because it's a little bit difficult, but you can have your own choice. Higher mathematics because you can take streams of science. So here awarding grades and reporting results, so this is important. So qualification will be graded on 9-point scale. So it's a 1 to 9 where 9 is the best grade. Okay, so suppose if you want to achieve the 9, many of our students got 9, 8. Okay, so that will be one of the highest. So to get this the good or best grade, we are here to help you throughout the year, fine. So we have been striving continuously for the student, we work continuously for the student to get best out of them, fine. Student who fail to reach the minimum standard for grade 1 will be recorded as a U, unclassified, and will not receive the qualification certificate as well, fine. So you have to work hard to get the best out of you, fine. Then so here the concept called a private candidate. So private candidate, what it says, the candidate, someone who enters for the exam through the AQA approved school and colleges but not enrolled as a student there, fine. So we can who can externally give the just an exam, not just going every other day for the school. So that's a private candidate. So many of the students actually opting this one to save their time and to work for something else. All right, so private candidate, they take the classes from the classes or tuitions like us, and they just give the externally exam, doesn't affect anything. All right, so private candidate maybe self-taught, homeschooled, or have a private tuition either with the tutor or through the distance learning organization, fine, based on UK. All right, so that's it. Okay, and even in the exam you will be having this formula sheet as well. You can use this formula sheet to solve the questions. All right, I hope you got the brief idea about the GCSE syllabus structure. Fine, suppose if you have any doubts, clarification, you can straight away contact us. And even our regular classes are going on throughout the year. Suppose if you want to connect with us, I have left the contact in the description box. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.